Welcome to the Talk Sox podcast. I'm Alex, and as always, I'm joined by Maddie. How's it going?
Well, the Red Sox won a series against a team that's leading their division, which is good news.
The Red Sox own the AL Central.
Yeah, they swept the Tigers earlier this year, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But the
That was the
Tigers are tough.
first sweep of the season. The Tigers are awful.
Yeah, they're. I just found out about this that Scooble might be trading.
I know there was talk about it obviously before the injury, where he had the loose elbows removed or the particles removed from his elbow, loose bodies removed from his elbow. But then it seems like this week, like the screws really got turned on that, where you had a bunch of high level MLB reporters and insiders saying like, hey, like Scooble's moving at the deadline. I think that's wild. Back-to-back Cy Young candidate. He's on the last year of his deal. He's obviously going to get mega paid. He's probably looking to get mega paid between the last out of the World Series and 11:59 on the last day of November. So like a 5-week span. You have to think that whatever team trades for Tarek Skubal probably holds the advantage to re-signing him if he can get a deal done before the lockout in the new CBA, because we have to assume that the new CBA is going to severely handicap these deals that teams are able to give free agents, but anybody who signed one before then will likely be grandfathered in.
Yeah, that'd be an overstep for the league to force teams to trade people just to lower payroll to meet a certain threshold.
I don't think we would ever have baseball again if that. Like, I think everybody would just go overseas. You would see like the Mexican league that's kind of treated as like quad A for some of these guys. You would see them get the likes of Tarek Skubal and all of these guys. You would have a lot of your Latin players would probably go play ball in Mexico. Probably all of your Asian players would go back and play for the KBO and the Nippon League. A lot of your American players would probably go play in Mexico and across in Japan and the KBO as well. I don't think it'll come to that. That's crazy, like conspiracy. But yeah, I mean, if the league is trying to make the Dodgers trade Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman so they can keep Shohei Ohtani, the Dodgers aren't going to respond well to that.
And I know that, I mean, all the discussion seems to be around, salary cap and whatnot, but I mean, look at the current standings. The Rays are in first place. The Guardians are in first place. The Braves don't spend that much, but it's not.
No, because the Braves do what Craig Breslow and even Chaim Bloom to an extent was trying to do with the Red Sox and locking up young talent, which Craig has done. I'll give him that. The Christian Campbell deal, even though it doesn't look great right now. The Cedar Rafaela deal, the Garrett Crochet extension, the Roman Anthony deal. They at one point had approached Willie Abreu last year about an extension. I would love to see Peyton Tolley locked up sometime this season. That kid is a certified ace in the making. I love Peyton Tolley.
And great personality too.
He is one we've talked about like guests, and we've had a few on here. We've had some awesome guests. Shout out to Chris Cotillo and Red Seat Radio, and of course Jemai Webster, who ripped his pants right before going on national TV on Sunday and was called Mr. Cheeks for the duration. That was great.
It's so funny.
Because Jemai has said that he wants to come back on and chat with us. So when he comes back on, we're gonna have to talk about that scenario, that situation. Peyton Tolley is like the top player that I would love to get on here and chat with, because I think that it would just be a hoot for about 30 to 45 minutes.
Non-stop laughing.
Yeah. So, Maddie, you were in Cleveland for game one of this series, or you were at the game for game one. Unfortunately, that was not the game to be at, Maddie.
Yeah, of course. We didn't attend the one game. We attended the one game where they lost. Bayo, So yeah, Moran came in and opened the game, which I mean,
wasn't it? It was San Diego that opened
oh,
that one, wasn't it?
Salmon
Yeah,
Diego. I'm getting my
but I
openers
mean,
mixed up for Bayo.
the thing is they did the exact same thing. So it could have been
It's
Moran or San
Moran.
Diego. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, just yeah. I feel bad for whoever's opening for Bayo because they give up a couple of runs usually, and then I mean Bayo twirls a few good innings,
He
and
went 7.
credit. I was like, okay, Brian, just I, I
Government
good
name.
for yeah, good for you. Just I feel bad for the dude who has to, you know, jack up his stats for you to pitch
Yeah.
well.
It's such an interesting dynamic because if you think back to 24, it's essentially what they did with Nick Pivetta, where he
Hmm.
started at the beginning of the season, he was moved to the bullpen. Now Pivetta was very vocal about not wanting to go to the bullpen, whereas Brian Bayo has kind of been weirdly quiet and collected about, very calm, cool, collected about it, which I respect. That
Hmm.
was a knock on Bayo just 2 years ago, was that he was too immature. And it came out last week. I wrote that ideally the Red Sox need to operate with an opener pretty much every time it's Bayo's turn through the rotation. The issue is the two arms that they've tried in that haven't been able to give him an even ball game to work with. They've given up anywhere between 2 or 4 runs. Yeah, if you take their starts out for Moran or for San Diego, then their ERAs are really good, but you put those starts in and it's not good at all. But I think the bigger concern that I have with it is why is Brian Bale performing so well in this role? And I dove into it a little bit in that article, but I've had kind of a lot more time to think about it since that came out a week or so ago. And I legitimately think that if he entered with a 0-0 score, he would have the blow up and he would be back to the starter Brian Bayo. I think that when he comes in a deficit, he's under no pressure. But now if he comes in, it's 2-0, 2-1, 4-0, 4-2. He's like, what am I? I mean, I can't do any worse than this. We're already losing, and there's no pressure on him at all now. Whereas if he comes in a 0-0 ball game in the second inning, I want to see what that looks like, just to see if he can get through it. But it makes you wonder: is he pitching so well because there's very little pressure on him, or is he just going to thrive as a bulk reliever?
Yeah, that's an interesting point to bring up. I thought it was some type of psychological thing because uh I was there Friday just with the gates opened 2 hours before the game started.
Mm,
So we saw the Red Sox batting practice and then I was basically sitting in the seat just because I wanted to see Bayo's warm up to see if there was anything
hmm
different he did because he had an opener. There really wasn't anything different. So I mean nothing in his routine. Samaniego just threw initially threw in the bullpen, and then Bale was there for a little bit,
hmm
and then Bale had a little extra time to warm up. So nothing crazy.
Okay. Yeah, when I saw Bayo in Game 3 of the Cardinals series, there was no opener, and I think that might have been he threw that start, and then I think he had 2 more, and then the opener started. So at the time, it wasn't even really a discussion. But the bigger issue here is you can't really hamstring yourself like that for a season
Mhm.
where you're having to burn a bullpen arm at the beginning of every game. And if they're not pitching well, it doesn't matter. Bale's coming in a deficit anyway. For the
Well,
most part, your offense isn't scoring the runs to overcome the deficit.
mhm.
So I don't know. It's a bit of a catch-22, I suppose.
Well, a fun experiment would be to have Chapman start the game, so there's a better chance it's 0-0,
hmm
and then try Bayo just to
Yeah,
see what would happen.
yeah. Um, I don't understand why Greg Weissert hasn't been used as an opener at this point. He continually keeps coming in dirty innings and giving up runners that were left on base by the previous pitcher. I wonder if he's dealing with something psychological with that too. Like, what was it? Oh, I think it was that last Braves game where he gave up the grand slam.
Mm-hmm.
It was him and Justin Slayton were both warming up, and you could almost, when they cut to the bullpen, like you could almost see it in his face. Like, man, I hope they go to Justin. Man, I hope they go to Justin, because he just knew. There's no place there. Like, the only guaranteed clean inning you're ever going to have is to start the game. So if you're going to have an opener, why not give Greg Weissert a look there and just kind of see, like, maybe it works.
Yeah, I feel like Weissert has kind of become the Bernardino of this year.
I liked Bernie though.
I feel bad for Greg. He doesn't seem like a jerk. I mean,
no, and he's apparently a big clubhouse like glue guy.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Cotillo had that. That was blown wildly out of proportion after that grand slam. It was like, oh, just because he's a glue guy means da da da. Like, no, that's not what Cotillo was saying. He was just stating the fact that a lot of guys like Greg Weissert.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be really interesting to see kind of how that shakes out. And I don't want to get into like the whole injury thing yet. That's coming up in the rundown. But like, once Garrett Crochet is back, do you just slide Brian Bayo to the bullpen? Do you option him to Worcester because he does have one or two options remaining? Let me open up Fangraphs. Because obviously you're not going to choose Brian Bayo with an opener. Yeah, he has two options remaining. That's what I thought. You're not going to choose Brian Bayo with an opener over Garrett Crochet, even if Crochet is coming off an injury. It's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be interesting to see. Down the road, you've got Johan Oviedo, who is probably eyeing a return at some point this year. Cutter Crawford is probably eyeing a return at some point this year. Maybe Patrick Sandoval is eyeing a return at some point this year. So I don't know. There's a lot of questions surrounding people coming back from injury and Brian Bayo, I suppose.
I mean, one of Sandoval, Crawford. Who was the other? Well, the Crochet, obviously. Oviedo. Yes. I wonder if you move some young starter in a trade for a bat, then one of those guys fills in the rotation.
You're talking totally early?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't hate that idea.
I mean, given the amount of back end depth that's supposed to return sometime, but
and you have Jake Bennett in AAA.
He looked pretty good in the start.
And according to Nick, who is at a lot of the Woo Sox game, Nick John, with the website, Bennett has been phenomenal since being optioned back to Worcester. I think he had an article this week that talks about how he's proving that the Red Sox still have pitching depth, and he's kind of like the poster child of it. So I don't know. It's going to be really, really interesting to see. I mean, we're talking weeks for any of those people to come back from injury. Garrett Crochet being probably the closest, which is saying something considering the updates that we got this week, and we'll talk about that here in a couple minutes. But coming well, I guess one thing I do want to talk about with the Guardian series, because it will hopefully carry over to the O's series, is Caleb Durbin seems to have turned a corner and is playing really good offensive baseball over the last 3 games.
Yeah. So I noticed during batting practice that he was hitting the ball a lot to the just to the right field foul pole, and I was thinking, that's interesting, because when I played like my roughly 2 years of JV softball. I'm left-handed, and that's all I could do, just weakly hit the ball like just along the right field foul line. But he was hitting like home runs like around the foul pole there to the opposite field. And I was thinking, that's interesting. I thought they were trying to turn him into a pull heavy dude to feed off the monster. But then that information came out where he was training with the same facility that worked with Narvaez.
Yes, what Gradium G swing?
Yeah.
I was listening to, like always, Section 10 this morning because I had a lot of errands to run, and they were talking about this whole Gradium thing as well. And Milliken talked about how kind of some rumblings that he's hearing is that the team doesn't like how Gradium is kind of like positioning itself in all of this. Obviously, they're using the Narvaez thing and the Durbin thing as promotion for their business. But the way that it's being spun where, Durbin has a 3-for-4 game and then all of a sudden Gradium is making these like heavily like produced and very professional looking hyped videos and stuff, taking credit for it. Durbin even came out and said on the Baseball Isn't Boring podcast, hey, like I met these guys 2 days ago. Like, they're talking all this stuff. Like I don't necessarily know quite what they're talking about, but yeah, they worked with Narvi. He hooked me up with them, and yeah, it's been positive so far. But there's been a lot of other stuff going on too. He was very quick to not give them the credit that they seem to be looking for. But one thing that I thought was really interesting in that conversation with Baseball Isn't Boring is he kind of called Craig Breslow out, but not by name. He's like, I'm starting to use right field, and that's the kind of hitter that I've always been. Pretty much this whole time they've been wanting me to pull the ball. And so it's just what you were saying, they're wanting him to use the monster, but that's not the kind of hitter he is. He's an all fields hitter. He's not just a pure pull hitter. And once he kind of re-unlocked that in his swing, it looks like a totally different player.
And Fenway Park also has the funky right field too, where you can hit the ball in the gap there. And most guys who come in don't know how to play that, so take advantage of that.
Well, I mean, you've got pesky pole. If you can learn how to play the pole,
that too,
you'll hit the cheapest home runs in the history of baseball, but they'll be home runs.
Not as cheap as a home run off of Weston Wilson.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. But hopefully we see that carry over into the series against the Orioles. The Red Sox are at home for the next 3 games. We're recording this on Monday on the off day. It should come out on Tuesday, day of game 1. In that series lining up, we've got Shane Baz throwing for the Orioles. He has not been good this year. Let me pull up his Savant page just so we can kind of talk about it. He's currently sitting with a 4.48 ERA over 11 starts. He's had 57 strikeouts. He's 2-5 on the season, and his Savant page is very, very blue. The only red that he has, his fastball velocity ranks in the 77th percentile, averaging at 96.2 miles an hour. And then the closest thing to red that he has is his extension is in the 62nd percentile at 6.6 feet. Features a 4-seamer, a curveball, changeup, and a sinker. Mostly he's a 3-pitch guy. The changeup and the sinker come in at 8% and 6% usage. It was a big deal when the Orioles traded for him from the Rays, and it hasn't really panned out.
Yeah, when I think the Orioles are running into the same issue they did last year, which is where they just don't have starting pitching.
Yeah. The offense really isn't doing a whole lot for them either.
Yeah, I'm still high on the Orioles offense. I think Alonso's going to heat up. Once the weather is starting to get warmer, and it is. He just he hit that walk-off single the other night.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And Adley's having a good season. Beside the Basayo and freshman tandem is so enviable.
Yeah, that's the situation you want for catchers.
Mm-hmm.
The Red Sox are throwing Connolly early in game one. Connolly's been really good this year. His stats, I don't have them right in front of me, but he has been kind of right up there with Peyton Tolley in terms of performance. He's rocking a 2.95 ERA, 5-2 on the season, over 11 starts, 57 strikeouts, 61 innings pitched. His off-speed run value is in the 87th percentile. His chase rate is in the 74th percentile. His extension's in the 80th percentile. Now, when you dive under the hood with early just a little bit, you notice that his expected stats are quite a bit higher than what we're currently seeing. And we've noticed that he's given up a home run, I think, in every start, at least one home run in every start for the last 4 starts. His expected ERA is a 4.63, so it's almost 2 full points higher than his actual ERA. His expecting batting average is a 0.246. He's not gonna blow anything by you. He can get up to 95, 96 occasionally. Sits right around 93, 94 with his four-seamer. Obviously, four-seamer, changeup, slider, curveball. He throws a really good sinker that he doesn't throw a whole lot, and then he's got a sweeper that he uses occasionally.
So he pitched well against them. Back in April.
Yes, in the series at Camden. Yes. Mm-hmm. Then game 2, we've got Chris Bassett, who, much like Shane Baz, has not had a good season. Better win-loss record. He's 4-3, but he's rocking a 5.06 ERA so he's appeared in 11 games, but has only started 9 games. Only 36 strikeouts. He's missing barrels quite a bit. He's ranked in the 89th percentile of barrel percentage. His hard hit is pretty solid at 69th percentile. Ground ball at 70th percentile. Average exit velo is in the 72nd percentile. But his chase rate is in the 7th percentile. His whiff rate is in the 26th percentile. His strikeouts are in the 7th percentile. He's an off-speed guy. Features a sinker, a curveball, a cutter, sweeper, four-seamer, changeup, and a slider. That's a huge pitch mix for somebody who's 37.
Yeah, whenever he came from the Blue Jays, I remember whenever they played them, the broadcasters would be like, "He throws so many pitches." Like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, it was always a huge time. I think it still is, but man, it's just. I think when you're 37, you need to give your arm a break a little bit. I'm not 37. I need to give my arm a break a little bit. Let's see. Chris Bassett is going up against the guy we were just talking about, Peyton Tolley. Just an absolute monster. He's 2-2 on the season, which any earned runs that Caleb Durbin can't jump up to catch shouldn't count against Peyton Tolley. He has a 2.61 ERA across 7 starts, 46 strikeouts. His expected ERA is lower than his actual ERA. His expected batting average, his expected ERA is in the 98th percentile at 2.2. He's currently sitting at 2.61. His expected batting average is the 95th percentile at 183. His extension, obviously, gets a ton of extension. He is an absolute monster. If you're gonna pencil a game that they should win that they may not win, it'll be that one because of defensive lapses or a melting down bullpen when the game is 1-1 and Tolley comes out in the 6th inning and Greg Weissert gives up a grand slam. Game 3, we've got Trevor Rogers on the bump for the Orioles, which that is the pitcher who probably has the claim to fame of being the guy who started the run of runs that the Red Sox scored in that 17-3 win that then promptly got Alex Cora fired. Trevor Rogers was the starter of record for the Orioles in that game. He's currently 2-6 on the season with a 6.84 ERA across 10 starts, 48 2/3 inning pitched, 38 strikeouts. His savant page is very, very blue. And the Red Sox have not named a starter for that game. They are listed as TBD. So it should be. I'm trying to go in my head. I think it's Bayo.
Yeah.
I think it was supposed to be Crochet, but
yeah, but that's seems like a no. We'll get to that.
yeah.
So
kind of what's your thought on the O's series coming up?
The pitching seems to be gettable based off of all these stats. I think Rogers has gotten a bit unlucky. He's technically supposed to be their ace, but I mean the Red Sox also pounded him the last time they saw him.
Yeah.
And I mean nobody on the team has a strikeout minus walk rate above 20. Everybody is just 12 or below. So that's a good sign as long as they just don't swing at bad pitches, be patient, and wait for a pitch that they like, or even just walk in a bunch of runs. I would take that.
Yeah. Runs are runs. I've always said getting on base is getting on base, whether it's a hit, an error, a walk, hit by a pitch, no matter what. Getting on base is getting on base. Runs are runs. However you can get them, take them. Don't complain about runs coming across the board. I think it should be a sweep for the Red Sox. It really feels like it should be. It won't be. I think a series win is doable. 2 out of 3. Alonso typically hits pretty well at Fenway Park. This will be the first time coming to Fenway as a member of the AL East. Is Tyler O'Neill hurt? Did I make that up? The last thing about him was the Orioles and Tyler O'Neill cannot go on like this. And the tagline is O'Neill's second season in Baltimore is even worse than his first. So who knows? He may not even play. Like you said, Adley and Basayo, that's a really good, a really, really good platoon, if you want to call it that. As half of their battery. So
Henderson's not having a good. No.
No.
Well, yeah, no. Henderson's not having a good season.
No. Is Holiday hurt?
Yeah, I think he's hurt. His brother's hurt too.
I saw that. Yeah, he just is beginning a rehab assignment. Looks like he was activated 2 weeks ago, and he's been sent on a rehab assignment since. So, yeah.
This isn't their A lineup?
No. So it's really the time to get them. You've got 3 pitchers, all with ERAs over 4. I think it's 4, 5, 6 is how it actually stacks out. You get a worse ERA with each day. You get a lineup that outside of Adley and Basayo and probably Pete Alonso isn't going to do much.
Well, I think Taylor Ward might hit one over the monster.
Yeah. I forget about Taylor Ward. I don't know why. Like, that's just a name that never pops in my head ever.
There was some talk I remember about the Red Sox trading for him and sending Duran to the Angels, and I always wonder what that would be like.
That would have been really interesting.
And he's a very pull-heavy guy. Hits the ball.
Well, you talk
hard.
about an overpay for him. I mean, the Orioles got him for Grayson Rodriguez, who I don't think has pitched well for the Angels at all.
Is he injured?
If he is, it just happened.
Or he might have been coming off an injury. 2-1 with a 7.54 ERA. Sheesh.
Because I
Good
think
for
that
the Orioles.
they threw Alek Manoah in one game, which was just awful, and then the next game was Grayson Rodriguez's first start in like 2 years, and it was awful. And so just the Angels really got
Alek
robbed.
Manoah. Oh, Alek Manoah.
But Vaughn Grissom's out there doing great because there's no pressure on him playing for the Angels.
I saw you at a grand slam the other week.
Yeah, you can dislike the return for the Chris Sale trade all you want. We all do. But I think 98% of people trade Sale in that scenario 9 times out of 10. And you thought Vaughn Grissom was going to be something other than he was when he was here with the Red Sox. And he just never seemed to buy in. And I think the biggest difference between Vaughn Grissom's non-buy-in and what seems to maybe be Caleb Durbin not buying in is that the front office is now in a spot to where they have to listen to the players that are telling them like, hey, this isn't working for me. Instead of trying to make them, we talked about this last episode, trying to make people fit their mold. Now maybe they're a little more willing to bend and do some things that are not what their algorithm is telling them. But we'll talk about the front office here shortly. Before we get to that, really the only injury updates outside Garrett Whitlock landed on the 10-day, 15-day IL with a right knee issue. He's received an injection for it and then landed on the IL the next day. Roman Anthony was taking dry swings. Everything felt good with his partially torn tendon in his ring finger. He hit off a tee, and the next day it was bothering him, and so he's been shut down from baseball activities for the time being. Garrett Crochet threw a bullpen during the last homestand and then felt some lat tightness. If you ask him, he says that he wouldn't even call it a setback. He thinks that he'll kind of resume activities pretty soon. It may be what is the smartest thing Chad Tracy could have done in this situation. He declined to put a timeline on anything when it came to Garrett Crochet's lat tightness and said they're going to get imaging done. And I think that is maybe Tracy and the front office learning like, hey, we've got to quit putting arbitrary timelines on things because we were told that Garrett Crochet would miss 1, maybe 2 turns through the rotation and that Roman Anthony would be back in 10 days. They've each been out. To put it this way, Garrett Crochet has not thrown a pitch for the Boston Red Sox in which Alex Cora was not his manager.
Oh. Well, that's something to think about. Injury recovery isn't linear. Roman and Crochet are examples of this. Tristan Casas is another example.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And I think when you put a timeline on something like, oh, he'll be back in 2 starts, or he's only gone for maybe 10 games, that doesn't help the injured guy because then they feel obligated in a sense to possibly rush their recovery, and they shouldn't be. Like, it's like, they probably will face some setback. They shouldn't be like, putting their career on the line just to get back in the lineup. Like, they need to take baby steps. And I don't believe that Roman doesn't hate playing baseball.
That's such a ridiculous take. It's probably all he knows how to do. Like, and that's not a knock on him, but like he probably has no other marketable skills at this moment in his life. Like, he is a baseball player and he has a partially torn tendon in his finger that makes swinging a bat, the most important part of his game, incredibly painful. Of course he's not going to come out and play right now. Like, there's no reason for
it. Yeah, I feel for the kid too. I mean, he's so young, and he's handling things well for his age.
He is. he's going to be an all-star. He's going to be he's going to be great. That's the easiest way for me to put it. Roman Anthony's going to be great, but we're going to have to get through these freak injuries that he's had, when he came up last year and now this year. If it were me, because it looks like both players aren't going to be ready until probably the All-Star break at the earliest, excuse me, I'd 60-day IL him and probably do that to Trevor Story too. That opens up 3 roster spots. The Red Sox have a decision to make before the first pitch of tomorrow's game about Tommy Canley. Today is the expiration of is when his upward mobility clause kicks in. He has made it clear to anybody listening in Worcester that he will be opting out this time. There is no coming back and taking a chance and seeing what he can get somewhere else. How he is not with the big league club when Greg Weissert, when Zach Kelly has been with the big league club, when Ryan Watson is still with the big league club, Danny Coulomb is still with the big league club. Like, let's give Tommy Canley a look. He has a lower than 2 ERA in AAA. It's just crazy to me, but we're probably going to be without Tommy Canley in any Red Sox baseball come tomorrow, if I had to guess.
Yeah, it's frustrating to see that he's been, I guess, languishing in Worcester while, all those dudes have been, blowing games throughout the month. And he can't be any worse than Ryan Watson.
Yeah, and I get that Craig probably doesn't want to return Ryan Watson to the A's, but sometimes a Rule 5 is not going to work out like Justin Slayton, like Garrett Whitlock. It's not going to. Yeah, it's just not gonna happen.
Or Moran, even just give him. Yeah, like literally anybody.
Yeah, we'll see. Like I said, Tuesday, the day this comes out, we'll have news on Tommy Canley, I suppose, whether he's in Boston or he's wherever he lives, because he won't be in Worcester. So the big thing, and one reason that I'm really glad that we waited until tonight to record, is the Boston Globe's Tim Healy came out with an excellent piece called "State of the Red Sox." Are the Red Sox better off now than when they hired Craig Breslow as chief baseball officer? Here's a closer look. If you have not had a chance to read it, it is phenomenal. Tim does great work. He's on camera with Nesson typically every pregame. He is a solid reporter and really did his due diligence on this piece. And we're not going to sit here and read this entire thing. It's lengthy, but it is well worth your time. But there are definitely some things that we need to talk about. I've got Tyler Milliken's Twitter feed pulled up right here. If you can't tell, Tyler Milliken is probably both of our favorite Section 10 personality. He's one that I really would like to have on here at some point in the near future. So we go to Tyler quite a bit. And here's where I want to start. I didn't really line anything out on the rundown about this, but I really wanted to start with the discussion around Theo Epstein. Because last episode, I talked about Carl Ravitch's podcast that Theo was on last week, where Theo talked about the importance of his scouting department and doing all of this research and really getting to know your players, and how that is the exact opposite approach that Craig Breslow has essentially taken with this. He's fired the majority of the scouting department for the Red Sox. It's a very, very small circle that surrounds him. And I muse out loud, I wonder how Theo feels about all of this. Lo and behold, today on June 1st, we now know. According to Tim Healy's piece, Theo Epstein has been disappointed by the Sox intense analytical direction under Craig Breslow. Epstein, I forgot about this part. Theo Epstein recommended Craig Breslow for the Red Sox CBO position, and now Breslow has described their communication as ebbing and flowing. So Theo is upset with the guy that he recommended from their shared time in Chicago, because Theo did hire Craig in Chicago, to the front office brass, and that does include Theo Epstein. Theo Epstein is a partner in Fenway Sports Group. He does not work for the Red Sox. He is part of Fenway Sports Group now. He recommended Craig Breslow for this role and is now, quote, disappointed by the intense analytical direction the team has taken.
There's a term used to describe this phenomenon. It's called an anime betrayal.
I'm so glad that you said that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, this. My dad's talked about this with his job, where he's helped hire somebody, and then they kind of, screw him over, and this sounds like, I'm not too familiar with Craig's tenure with the Cubs.
I'm not either. I have friends that are diehard Cubs fan, and they're like, "Yeah, he worked for us," but that's as deep as it goes.
So, I mean, maybe just from their opinion, I mean, I'm assuming they're like you and more tuned in than the average fan, that he was just a behind the scenes guy, and then thrust into Boston, huge market, expected to, talk to people, the press frequently.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Just held accountable to a very high standard. I know Chicago's the north side, the south side too, has shown that some of those games look
passionate fan base, very passionate fan base.
Yeah, like especially like with he's now injured, but Mane Mune, just he like with when he hits a home run, that stadium is electric. Right field, but just that's funny.
So to kick off the article, we've got the guy who recommended Craig Breslow for the job is upset with the job and how it's being done. Then Healy spoke to Breslow, which is great. And this quote, let me find the actual quote in the piece. Okay, so I'll set it up a little bit. They're talking about how they won more games in 24 than 23, won more in 25 than 24. And Healy says those were tangible steps forward, highlighted by a playoff berth last season. The problem is this year. With the highest payroll in franchise history, a projected $269 million is calculated for the luxury tax. The Red Sox so far have taken a large step backward as they creep toward the halfway point. Quoting Breslow, it bothers me incredibly strongly. It keeps me up at night. It consumes my thinking. If it didn't, then I shouldn't be doing this job. Healy goes on to say, in baseball, 3 years is considered not enough time for a head of baseball operations to fully implement and see through his vision. Red Sox ownership, however, has shown limited patience over the past decade plus. Breslow's 3 immediate predecessors were dumped near the end of their 4th season, and 2 of them had championship rings. Breslow says that he does not mull his employment fate. When you talk about analytics, I can be very practical, which is to say, okay, is thinking about job security going to make me better at my job or worse at my job? I don't know how it would make me better. So if I focus on all the things that are part of this job, and I focus on all things that are part of this job and ultimately get us where we want to go. So you have Breslow saying that the significant step backwards bothers him a lot, and it keeps him up at night and consumes his thinking. And if it didn't, then he shouldn't be doing the job that he currently has. I think there's a lot of people that think that he shouldn't be doing the job that he currently has anyway.
Ooh, he has emotions.
If you'd have told me, if it comes out that Craig Breslow's a robot, would you be shocked?
No, and I think some robots even have more emotional depth.
You ever watch iRobot with Will Smith?
The Robots movie?
Oh, I forgot about the Robots movie.
That was Ewan McGregor, Obi-Wan Kenobi was in it. Like just a
Yes,
crazy
yeah.
Jennifer Coolidge too, Boston area native. Just crazy. But anyway. Yeah.
So thoughts on that? The fact that it bothers him, that he realizes that there's an issue, but there's really no end in sight for it, I guess.
The sky is blue. Okay,
There's a
yeah.
fork in the kitchen.
Yeah, fork gun in the kitchen. Just I think he kind of revealed his hand there, whether he was trying to or not. Just
He's worried.
he's worried. And the fact that he mentioned just randomly job security, like he's thinking he's gonna go into the trade deadline thinking about that. So I mean, maybe he'll be more aggressive. And at the same time, he also could be like flipping the bird off at the at Henry and Company and being like, "Oh, what if I just burn the house down?"
Yeah, and I will
That's the
say,
worst
like,
case scenario.
like John does have to sign off on it, on any deal. Breslow
Mhm,
can't just go and sell the farm, trade
mhm.
Crochet. Like, that's not going to happen. But Breslow could be like, I know I'm a dead man walking. I'm not doing anything for you. I'm not setting you up for success next season, whenever that season begins. I'm not setting you up for success in 28. You hamstrung me with this outfield, with these pitchers and no bullpen. That's what you're going to finish the season with. I'm not touching it. I don't think that I don't think Craig Breslow is. I hate to say that smart. He doesn't strike me as the kind of guy that would do that. Could be wrong. He's a savvy businessman to get where he's at this point. Um, just even if the job fell into his lap because nobody else would take it.
I I want to say, I mean, we've talked about this plenty of times. He's good at drafting and developing pitchers.
Yes.
That's it. I mean, the article talks about that, but
Yep.
I really don't think he has that. Like, this is okay, now I'll bring a Succession reference. This is what Logan Roy talks about, that Kendall lacks, like a
Yep.
killer instinct, and
Yep.
Breslow lacks that.
Mm-hmm.
Just the ability to finesse a trade, reel in the big fish in free agency. He doesn't have that ability. And I don't. If he has another bad trade deadline, I don't think he's going to get the opportunity come the off season to. Um, well,
I don't.
then
I
there's
don't
a
think he makes
trade.
it to the off season.
Yeah, but yeah, then I, I mean, I would hope if he's let go that the organization has somebody clear in mind that they want to fill in for the Pobo role
I think they'll follow the Celtics model
with just well,
with Brad Stevens.
that's
Danny Ainge was a well-respected front office voice in Boston. He left, was fired, however you want to spin it. Went to Utah. Brad Stevens was elevated from head coach to chief basketball officer, CBO, general manager, whatever, with the Celtics. Um, I still say Alex Cora is in the front office come next year.
we'll see.
If Craig is fired before the lockout, Alex Cora will be hired. If they give Craig the deadline and the offseason once it starts to
Mhm.
try to shore up his vision, Cora will take a managerial job somewhere else, be it the Phillies, the Mets, somewhere. If Breslow is fired at any point during the season, I think Alex Cora is the next GM, Pobo, whatever you want to call him, CBO of the Boston Red Sox.
Yeah, I mean, has anything come out that Kennedy and Cora are secretly meeting for lunch?
Anymore? I haven't seen anything in a while. I haven't done a ton of digging though. I might do that before the next episode just to kind of see. I assume that Alex is back home in Puerto Rico by now. Um, I follow him on Instagram. I don't get on Instagram hardly at all anymore. So I think I got on after the firings just to see the pictures and all that when all that happened. But um, kind of right into Alex Cora. There's a couple of quotes that they're going to go hand in hand a little bit, so I'm going to read both of them. Over the past month, Craig Breslow has made a concerted effort to have more conversations with players and clubhouse level personnel, letting them know that he cares for them, cares about winning, and is there to support him. Craig said, making that clear to the players and staff goes a lot further, probably, than I initially gave it credit for. I think I just assumed that was the case. But actually verbalizing it and sitting down with the players and having the opportunity to build those meaningful relationships, I think that's something I've taken to heart. And then to tag on to that, multiple officials also spoke to Tim Healy, said that Craig Breslow might benefit from having an interpreter of sorts, someone with a more traditional baseball fabric and personable demeanor to convey his message. Some within the organization believe that Chad Tracy could fill that role because he's comfortable pushing back. So Craig Breslow needs an English interpreter for the English word salad that he is trying to say when he tells the players that he loves them.
I know he played, but he was on the 13 team.
He's so lucky he could throw 90 miles an hour.
Well, funny. Have you ever read The MVP Machine by Ben Lindbergh and he's from Pennsylvania. I think Travis Sawchik.
I have not.
I highly recommend it because I read it like a couple years ago.
The MVP Machine.
No, I think I have that away. Could be a box, but it talks about basically how like the origins of I guess Driveline and
the
players
new Moneyball.
Yeah, players going to third parties to increase their velocity or sort out their launch angle or increase their barrel rate. And Breslow has a decent section. He's featured across a couple of chapters where he was one of the early adopters of that.
Interesting. Okay. I didn't know that.
And yeah, just thinking about, the organization's buy-in with Driveline, at least for hitting and other things, that makes me wonder. How much is he really emphasizing that stuff? But
how much he loves everybody.
How much he loves, and yeah, he comes across as what is it? Molecular biophysics and chemistry major at Yale and Yale grad rather than just a Major League Baseball player.
Yep. So I did think that about 6 or 7 hours ago, Tyler Milliken once again kind of summed up his 5 thoughts on this Healy piece, and I'm going to read through those really quick because I think that you and I both probably agree with them pretty wholeheartedly. Number 1, hearing that Theo Epstein is disappointed by the approach of the CBO he recommended to John Henry feels very significant, especially if you're wondering if anyone could get in Henry's ear that something is wrong. It feels like Theo could be that guy. Number 2, in year 3, the fact that Craig Breslow is still figuring out the communication side of the job, despite what went wrong in 2025, feels rather problematic. One of your biggest selling points in that first presser was the ability to do just that. We now have Breslow admitting himself that he hasn't properly valued that part of the job, despite the ceiling of last year's team being compromised for this exact reason. Number 3, also the idea that Breslow might need someone to be the bridge to help convey his vision to the clubhouse and other members of the organization makes the Alex Cora firing feel even more questionable. He carried the fabric that the article described more than anyone. To Chad Tracy's credit, it makes me happy that people in the organization believe that he can also be that guy, and he's done a very solid job. Number 4, Milliken was happy to see Breslow get some love for his approach to pitching, but because there's definitely credit to be given on that front, even with the fallout from the Kyle Harrison deal. but the questions about understanding hitting development being more than just fan speculation is rather concerning for an organization that needs multiple guys to take a big step forward in their career offensively at this moment. And number 5, and what I agree with probably the most, it's hard not to read a piece like this and feel like the seat isn't just getting hotter. Should be an extremely fascinating couple of months leading up to the deadline. Scary in some ways as well. Curious to see if Breslow gets treated like Heim in 2023 with hands tied. But if that's the case, a move should be made now.
Yeah, just he said there's a Healy said there's a bigger story coming out in a couple of weeks. So I'm curious to see that.
Yeah, I don't know what's bigger than what we currently have in front of us. There's no way that decisions are being tipped to the Boston Globe. They're not going to be able to keep that under wraps for 2 weeks. That's not going to happen. It does make me wonder if maybe people have been seen around Boston. I know there was talk not long after the Alex Cora firings that if things with Tracy got off to a slow start, like maybe they would start interviewing people without being vocal about it, but that would get out. Like, oh, David Ross has been seen in Boston. You know, oh, Rocco Baldelli is in Boston. Why else would Rocco Baldelli be in Boston? And even when because Rossi works for ESPN, yeah, they had that Thursday night game against the Yankees, or the Friday night game or something against the Yankees a couple weeks ago. That was on ESPN. Rossi was in town. We were like, why would David Ross be in Boston? Like, oh, he works for the network that's like showing the game. Like that's why Ross is in town. There's no other reason behind it. But if it was somebody like Rocco Baldelli, that's pretty telling.
Mm-hmm. As some dude with no ties to the area. Yeah. Well, he's from Rhode Island.
Well, that does make it a little more if it's somebody like that.
Yeah, but that's more of an incentive though. But anyway.
But I wouldn't say that. I think that maybe the piece centers around like Chad Tracy and his future with the organization, but I think that it may center around something with Craig. And who knows? Maybe nothing comes out from it because things happen in these next couple of weeks. But we'll see. There's one more quote that I want to read to you that's not from Tim Healy, but I'll let you kind of say your piece on what we've been talking about across these quotes.
It seems like all these comments are just him trying to save his own ass. I mean, not to swear. I mean, this is the one venue where I try not to. But just it's. I mean, I wrote a piece last year after the Devers trade about how the team has lost the human element after the Devers trade. I got called soft for it. Now there's stuff like this. I mean, Breslow's saying he's trying to just connect with people more. Maybe he is. I mean, at the same time, we also heard rumblings that he just has a core group of people that he defers to. He's fired. I think a lot of people who have spoken up against him. I think the part about Chad Tracy just being able to speak up. I think he knows that. Anytime he's mentioned, he's referred to as the interim manager. He knows he has really nothing to lose, I think.
Yeah.
And that's why he speaks up. And just, what's the worst thing they can do? Fire him? I mean,
send him back to Worcester.
Send him back to, that's a good gig. I mean, for him.
Where he lives within walking distance of the stadium.
Could be worse.
Yeah. I think that there's a lot to take out of that Healy piece, and if you haven't read it, I highly suggest that you do read it because it talks about way more than what even we've talked about here. The last quote, and it all ties together, that I want to read you is from the Associated Press, and it came out this early afternoon right around 3-4 o'clock. The title of it is Red Sox great Ortiz says owner John Henry is, quote, worried about the team. So they spoke to David Ortiz at his celebrity golf tournament, and the former Red Sox great said that he talked to Henry recently about the club's struggles. To quote Ortiz, he's worried. We had a conversation. I can see. I've known John for a long time. Him and the whole team, him and Tom Warner, the whole group, they're working on figuring things out to get this to ride better, Ortiz said Monday morning in an interview with the Associated Press. He knows the direction of this team, and he's worried about the team's situation more than what people think he is. Says the 76-year-old Henry, along with his partners, brought the club in 2002. Ortiz said it's hard for fans to understand that Henry still cares about the team's direction because of his public demeanor. Ortiz says again, the thing is that you see John, and John is someone that he manages his emotions really well. He's very professional at everything he does. Sometimes for people, it's hard for them to understand that part of him, but he's worried. He said, I sat down and talked to John, and he wants to figure it out. He wants to have the formula to go back to the old days. It's not like he just gives up. Sometimes people don't understand that the way that this game goes, and that it's hard to stay up there. He was then asked if Henry was worried about the fans too, and Ortiz said that he thinks that the owner is worried about everything. When you worry about everything in general. You worry about the team, you worry about the fans, you worry about how everything is moving around. I tell you, the boss, he's working hard. He's working on putting the pieces that moving forward things get better around here. Obviously, David Ortiz is employed by the Boston Red Sox. David Ortiz is close friends with John Henry, but this is a very, very, very candid David quote. This isn't happy-go-lucky David sitting at the MLB on Fox desk. I think that if David didn't have the okay to say that John was worried, David wouldn't have said that John was worried.
Yeah, I think Henry gets a lot of hate from the fan base, but he's kind of like Rafael Devers, if you want to compare them, because they're both like very shy, I guess, and introverted. But that doesn't mean they don't care about the team. They're just, a little awkward in front of cameras, I guess. And yeah, and I think.
Well, John will only conduct interviews over email now.
Oh yeah, this SBJ article talked about that. Interesting.
Yeah. And I think it's Sam has said on more than one occasion that like John is worried about saying the wrong thing without having time to think.
And yeah, that's the thing with the media today, where the people will take one quote out of context and then that will spiral. And he's brought this team 3 World Series, no 4 in the past since 2004. Like no other owner in baseball has done that recently.
Mm-hmm. Give the Dodgers 2 more years. But
we'll see at the end of the season. But
yeah,
well, Henry's one dude though. He's not some some type of wealth management firm anyway. Just I think it's good that Ortiz said that, and
I'm inclined to believe David too. Like if he's going to sit here and be like, John's trying to figure this out, like okay, I think John may actually be trying to figure this out.
John can figure it out by firing their Pobo. But
yeah, man, if I was John, Craig would be gone right now, and I would let Eddie Romero handle everything. Eddie and Theo. I understand that Theo is in FSG, is not a Red Sox employee. He was in the room. He was in the room at the trade deadline last year. Be like, hey, like I'll give you a bonus, whatever you need. Like, let's navigate this trade deadline together. Let's pick a lane and let's go.
Yeah, and he's only 52. He's still young.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I've also seen him with the FSG's other. They're not stocks though. They're not items in their portfolio. Entities in their portfolio.
Yeah.
Like he was like something with like the golf thing and the racing team.
Mm-hmm. He was over with Liverpool for a little while too. I think the plan for Theo, I think Theo's plan for the world, for his life, is to either take over as the principal owner of FSG, or I think that he's commissioner bound.
That'd be interesting after Manfred retires.
I don't think he's next.
He's still young, yeah.
Yeah, I think whoever is the next, because Manfred's only around until 29. Is that right?
Yeah,
he has
there's a definite date, and once he wipes his hands clean, I think he'll actually be done, which is good.
Yeah,
people can't do that.
Selig was not like that. But whoever takes over after Manfred, I think that if Theo does not become, and I hate to be this way, like John Henry is elderly, like he probably does not have much time left on this earth.
Well, he still has a 13-year-old kid. Well,
yeah, that's insane. That's a different conversation for a different style of podcast. But John Henry is in his 70s, I think.
76.
Yeah, so upper 70s. You know, he might have another 10 to 15 years left, but I think that realistically, he's probably not involved with the Red Sox for the next 10 to 15 years. I think that he will probably sell his majority stake in FSG, or at least divide it up between Sam and Tom and Theo. And I wouldn't hate Theo being the principal owner of Fenway Sports Group when it's all said and done.
Do you think Linda wouldn't get a bit? Well,
I think she probably would, but I don't know how involved she would be.
I've heard she's actually pretty involved in some of the stuff, but I
wouldn't hate it. She's younger than John.
A lot of people are younger than John.
I was about to say, when the bar is on the ground, it's easy to clear. But it's going to be interesting. We'll see what comes out between our recording tonight and next week. Who knows? There might be a whole nother article where John Henry sells the team. That's not going to happen. But who knows? Maybe Craig Breslow will be fired after we get swept by the Orioles and the Yankees and fall to 14 games behind 500, under 500. So we'll see. Are you working on anything right now, Maddie?
Not at the moment. Are you?
So obviously the week in review, I have an article coming out about Peyton Tolley's underlying metrics and how he hasn't maybe even reached his floor that he actually has. That'll be out sometime this week. And then I am working on kind of not a reflection piece, but looking at Craig Breslow's past 2 trade deadlines and maybe what we can hope for based on how he's behaved at the last 2 deadlines, but also understanding that his seat is probably incredibly hot and he's well aware of that. So those will be up at some point this week. As always, we've got great content over on Talk Sox. Nick is doing an excellent job with the minor league section of this podcast. That's coming out every 10 days, every couple of weeks. It kind of ebbs and flows. But if you haven't listened to it, give it a listen. Nick is he is our minor league guy. He's good.
He's got finger on the pulse down at Worcester.
He's got full access. He's in the clubhouse. So shout out to Nick. He's kind of living everybody's dream. Give the minor league episodes a listen because they're great, and we've just got, like I said, just a ton of great content. And then as the trade deadline draws ever near, we will have more and more. We're already kicking around some ideas, and one thing we will not do is mock trades, because the mock trades that have come out so far this year have been insane. So if you're looking for mock trades, you can take that to baseball trade value and figure it out yourself. But thanks for listening. We'll see you guys next week. And this has been the Talk Sox podcast. Have a good one.